Welcome back to the Purple Politics Podcast. I'm your host, Ben.
And I'm Rick.
And it's that time of the week when Rick and I sit down to go through the headlines.
In the current media landscape, everything is printed in red or blue. Ben and I try to find the purple area between the lines.
We ask questions, apply logic, and discover what stories are written by the headline heroes.
Just like the news, we're not always right and we don't always agree, but we always look for some sort of common ground.
Let us know what you think. Leave us a comment or send an article you'd like us to discuss over at purplepoliticspodcast.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or at Rick and Ben on Twitter. So what's going on in the news this week, Rick?
All kinds of madness.
That's every week.
Yeah. You know, I love this first story about the mayor there. Where's he from, Ben?
Glens Falls?
Yeah, it's Glens Falls, New York.
It's nice that we always get to start out with like I think we should always start out with a local story.
Yeah, this is our local story.
So, a New York mayor from Glens Falls decided he was going to call all Democrats, all people who vote for Democrats, retarded. And so there was an uproar and he was asked to step down and he was like, "No, I'm not going to step down. I stand by my words. I may have chosen a different word, but you know what? I'm going to run again."
Yeah. You know what? And I guess, if you would have said this probably 10 years ago, there wouldn't be such an uproar, especially 15 years ago. But now, that word's a little taboo,
I agree. There is taboo behind the word. But in 10 years,
yeah,
you say it.
But in 10 years, who knows where we're going to be? I just think, what? The man said it and he's going to stand behind it. There's some conviction there.
There's conviction there. And I'm not about his using of the word, but you know what? We're coming to a point, and I think that this pisses me off, where everything we say offends everybody. So now we're not allowed to say anything.
Yeah.
That is a bad precedent.
Yeah. There's people out there, no matter what you say, they're going to be offended. And that's what drives me crazy. Listen.
But at one time, retarded was not an offensive word. It just ended up labeling part of society.
Right.
But at one point, it wasn't labeling. It just meant you had a retarded, which is an actual word in the dictionary that had a retarded growth or learning ability.
Right.
But now everybody's like, haha, he's retarded, or haha, he's a faggot, or whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
And then just like, and I know this is going to piss people off, but the N-word, at one point, it meant something that it doesn't mean today. And now I understand and I agree. It totally means something different. But the first time it was used, it was just another word.
Right.
So at some point we have, and that word is different. That word, I could say, okay, I get it. But tomorrow we're going to say mentally handicapped. Or actually, I think mentally handicapped is offensive. Now you're developmentally challenged or something.
Yeah, I'm challenged on what I can and can't say. Because sometimes,
I'm cringing now.
Yeah. And I you have the same reaction from me over here. I'm a little nervous to speak on this because I don't want to be judged on the word that I use. But, the word retarded is used in several different ways, especially like for an auto mechanic.
I was just going to say, especially when you're not using people as the...
Oh, yeah, 100%. So, the guy said what he said. Do I appreciate that he used the word? Probably not. Nah, not really. I think he could have had a better choice of words. But I'm not a Democrat.
Yeah,
so
but
my feelings aren't hurt.
Do I give a shit that he said retarded?
No, I really don't. I really don't.
I have mentally disabled family, friends.
Yeah.
And you know what? You could say whatever you want.
Yeah.
It's not, I don't understand this like go to offended state that we live in now.
Well, here's how it works.
Call me retarded. I don't care.
Yeah. A politician will say something offensive and they immediately call for this individual to step down.
It's their game plan.
Yeah.
They just wait.
It's just
wait.
It's just nuts.
So I say, you know what? Think about what you say a little bit more, especially in the political landscape we live in.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you know what? It's just a fucking word.
Yeah, for sure.
You like that one?
Yeah, I do, as a matter of fact.
All right. Here's another one. This story makes me uncomfortable. A Harvard graduate student was told she has to move out of her apartment because her roommates found her, quote-unquote, legally owned firearms uncomfortable and anxiety inducing. So what happened was, I guess,
Wow.
these girls saw a not manga. I got kids reading comic books too much.
Yeah.
MAGA, Make
Yeah.
America Great Again hat, and knew that she was from like Alabama or something, and just knew that she had a gun. So they went snooping through her stuff until they found a gun.
Nice. Yeah, because that's what you do. You snoop through your roommate's shit.
Exactly. And she even asked them, she's like, oh, when I asked why they were in my room to begin with, they each came up with completely contradicting stories, none of which made any sense. But one comment struck me in particular. We saw that you had a MAGA hat on. Come on, you're from Alabama. So we just kind of assumed that you had something.
That's
But
horseshit.
why are you going through your she's your roommate, so I'm assuming she's your friend.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you just signed
Yeah, at least.
a lease, you still got to know each other. You liked her enough to let her move in. But, Ari, so here's my question. We've talked about gun control before. Isn't this just another aspect of, like, just good gun ownership?
Well, first off, they had to search for the gun.
Right, but
So
they're
it's not
saying
like it
that
was
the
a blank
gun
view.
education. So
Yeah,
this is
absolutely.
poor education on the non-gun owners. And my question is, as long as the gun is locked up,
What's the difference?
right? I mean, why are they nervous? Because the girl could kill her? I could come up with 400 different ways that I could kill her today without a gun, just with the stuff in her apartment.
Well, this is just my opinion. I want to, state that this is just an opinion. They seen the Make America Great Again hat, and they obviously have a
Exactly.
different political view. So
Exactly.
they must think automatically they judged her, they prejudged her, and thought, all right, she's a lunatic, she's a Trump supporter, she's got to have a firearm. Let's snoop through her shit. Or they didn't assume she had a firearm. They just wanted to snoop through her shit, and then they found a firearm.
Yeah.
So either way, you know who's wrong here.
Oh, it's the roommates.
Yeah, So they're going to ask her to move out? Why don't they find a new place to live? She didn't snoop through their shit. It's not like she pulled a gun on them. And if it's a legally owned gun, she hasn't done anything wrong. So why are you asking her to move out in the first place?
Right.
Because you snooped through her shit?
So I guess their answer is we're not worried about you.
Yeah, their answer is bullshit.
We're worried about other people getting the gun.
Oh, please.
The only reason other people know that there's a gun in the house
Yeah,
is
it's 'cause
because
you
you guys
snooped.
snooped through her shit.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You see, this is the stuff that aggravates me.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not siding with this individual
Yeah.
because she obviously is a Trump supporter, and I'm not siding with the other ones because they're obviously not Trump supporters. I'm saying this because there's a difference between right and wrong. You don't snoop through your roommate's shit, and then when you find something, you out it and make a big deal out of it. It's not like one of them was doing laundry or picking up a room that they shared together, and they found an 8-ball.
Yep.
In little baggies, like she was going to package it and selling it. That's a different story.
They probably would have been okay with that.
Well, yeah, it's college,
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, here's what happened. They saw the Make America Great Again hat. They didn't like it, so they snooped through her shit. They found a lawful gun and then made a huge deal out of it to get her out of the apartment. Why? It's not over the gun. It's because she's a Trump supporter. I know I'm right. I don't have proof that I'm right. Common sense tells me I'm right.
Right.
You
One of the
know?
most powerful statements is the woman, the gun owner.
What'd she say?
She said, or she asked, she said, she goes, you know what? Never once did they ask me why I learned to fire a gun, why I'm a registered gun owner, and why I have a gun. And it comes back that she said that she was in an abusive relationship. Well, if you're in an abusive relationship to the point where you need a gun,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good question.
Yeah.
But they just jump to, oh, somebody else could kill us with that gun. Well, I could come over there and kill you with just my bare hands.
Or a stick.
Yeah, or
Come on.
But
And-
I could probably flash a big enough MAGA hat in front of you, and you just die of a heart attack.
Yeah, I have a funny feeling this has to do everything with her being a Trump supporter and almost nothing to do with the fact that she had a firearm. I don't know. I mean, just this is the bullshit that people are sick of. This is, the shit that goes on just like this.
But just more and more happen. Every
Yeah.
day, those poor kids that are just sitting in a fast food place, eating a burger and some old man comes up and throws a drink in their face.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I don't own a MAGA hat. I didn't vote for Trump. But had I, and if I, and some asshole, and you know me, I may sound like a violent person on the podcast.
Yeah.
I am not a violent person.
No.
Somebody just comes up to me randomly and just throws a soda in my face. I'm chasing them out in the parking lot.
Yeah, I'm kicking your ass.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's done.
Yeah, there's no question about that.
And
we're going to throw.
We'll get this part of the podcast out for a future episode for when it does happen. They deserved it.
Yeah. I want to go on the record right now. Purple Politics doesn't condone any kind of violence, physical or physical.
We need to pre-record this just so I can hit a button that we do not condone what Ben says.
Yeah, we don't condone what Ben says here.
All right.
Oh.
While we're laughing, let's move on to the dumbass.
Oh, this story, you know.
What is wrong with you people in naming your children? Now, I get it. It's a name. You put thought into it. But, Rick, what did this lady name her child?
Well, I'll spell it for you. It's ABCDE, and I believe it's pronounced Absidhe.
Absidhe.
Yes. And just so you know, this isn't the only child on the planet with this name. I've learned that there's over 350 children with this name.
So, it's been a while since I've been in elementary school. But what do you need to do to make a C sound like an S? Because it's not put a fucking D in front of it.
Yeah, no. Or a D behind it, or a B in front of it.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, like, it makes no sense. They were trying to be original, and that's a big issue. And I get it. Everybody wants to be original. I wanted a name that a million people didn't have for my son, but I still wanted a name
that people would recognize.
That is a name.
Yeah.
Now, this lady, and the whole story comes down to, she was taking her child on a Southwest Airlines flight, and the attendant laughed about it. And then at a later point, the attendant posted an Instagram picture.
Yeah, she took a picture of the ticket.
And laughed at it. And the lady's upset that they picked on her 5-year-old. Listen, bitch, they're not picking on your 5-year-old. Your 5-year-old's probably a beautiful child. I'm going to say it is a beautiful child because all children are beautiful,
right.
Especially at 5. There's no bad children.
Right.
Just bad parents. Hence who the lady's laughing at. You named your child ABCDE. People are going to laugh at that. Now, not only are people going to laugh at that, but this name is going to affect them in the future.
For sure.
I wrote a paper for college. It was like a 10-page paper. And it discusses this. It was birth names and their effect on employability. I turned it in. I got a good grade on it. But, so you go to HR. HR is going through the resumes. And they see ABCDE. And then they see Abigail. Or they see Absidhe spelled in some way that looks like Absidhe. They're taking ABCDE. And they're just pushing it aside. Because they are assuming a lot about that person and that person's upbringing.
Yeah. Now, the HR person's not supposed to do that, but they do.
Everybody's going to do that. It's just going to
do.
happen. And the only way to get around that, and I'm not even going to say it because I'm still planning on doing it. I can make a little money off of this. But the HR, and I interviewed HR people, and they tell you, they go, listen, when your name is $dollar bill, y'all, I'm not hiring you. You and I have a friend who's a teacher. Her student's name is something like My Lord, My King. And the kid's mom was like, no, you have to call him My Lord, My King. And our friend was like, no, I am going to call him Mr. whatever his last name is.
Right, which is appropriate.
It's because I will not call him My Lord, My King. This person... We're not going to go into race, but statistically, if you look up who's doing what, anyways,
awkward pause.
It's not awkward. It's
right.
I mean, it's right in. It's right in. I should post my paper because it's right in there. It's all fact checked and everything. But she was trying to get like an up on somebody, be like, aha, now you have to call my son My Lord, My King all the way through his life. No, and now you just made it so people aren't going to want to hire him just because his name is My Lord, My King, because they're not going to want, a boss is not going to want to call their underling or whatever you want to get, their worker, My Lord, My King.
Yeah.
But some of the other names, a lady went to court, all right, And
this one I like.
so the lady went to court, and her daughter was arrested for prostitution. And the judge is talking to the daughter, and he goes, "I'm going to call your mom up here." And the mom comes up, and she goes, "Ma'am, did you know what you named your daughter when you named her?" And she goes, "Well, I knew what I meant to name her. I love the Cosby Show. I meant to name her Tempest, after Tempest Bledsoe, Bledsoe."
Yeah.
The judge is like, "Did you understand that you named her Temptress?" Temptress? And she's like, "Well, after the fact." And the judge was like,
"Didn't you fix it?"
You could change the name." She's like, "Well, it was like a couple years before I realized the mistake," which means other people didn't realize the mistake,
right?
And thought that this lady at the Cosby Show was named Temptress,
right?
And just look at that. The girl ends up becoming a hooker. Now, it's not saying that every girl named Temptress is going to grow up to be a hooker, but do the timeline. Her name's Temptress. Now she's getting picked on in school. Now she's getting called a whore in school. Now nobody's going to be her friend. She's not getting jobs. And I think she was under 18 when she was doing this anyways.
Wow.
But then she's doing her thing to make some money. I mean, if her name was Rebecca, if her name was Tempest, do you think it would happen? No. There's this one family tried to put dollar bills in their kid's name, and the court was like, "That's not happening. That's not even an English symbol."
Yeah.
But I mean, even the Ninth Circuit Court, and I forget which Ninth Circuit Court, in a case called EEOC versus Trans-State Airlines, whatever happened in this court case doesn't matter. But they said that just the sound of one's name often serves as a proxy in many people's minds for one race. Now, the court just said in a document what I just said a minute ago,
right,
that just seems so rude. But I mean, it's right there in black and white, and it does happen. And it's just, it's borderline child abuse because you're affecting their
future.
Now, ABCDE is not, but it's not as bad as naming your daughter Temptress.
Right.
But it's also not a reason to get mad at somebody for laughing at your kid's name, because they're not laughing at your kid. They're laughing at you for being a stupid parent. I'm not afraid of saying that.
No.
So, sad news this week, depending on who you are. I've heard some people are happy about it.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I don't think you have to be what your political affiliation is.
We're at that point.
The 41st president of the United States passed away.
Yeah.
George
H.W. Bush, he passed away. And the only real thing that I remember, because I was a little bit younger when he was a president, definitely too young when he was vice president, but the only major complaint that I remember people having is he promised no new taxes, and then between wars and all that stuff, he had to raise taxes.
Shit happens.
But that's, I mean, if you think of controversies now, that's it. The man wrote like 1 million thank you letters.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the type of guy he was. He left a note for Bill Clinton when Bill Clinton went in, and he's been able to work with him after both were presidents. They're on different sides of the line.
Yeah, he just wanted to show that because you're not with the same political party doesn't mean you're enemies.
Right. And that's how it
together,
should be. And that's part of the
reason
why we do this.
That's the purpose of the show. The purpose of the show. Listen, me and Ben definitely don't see eye to eye on politics, all right? But it's not just a throwdown screaming match for an hour. I mean, we talk through things. Sometimes he changes his mind. Sometimes I change mine. Sometimes when you listen, you understand things a little more clear. And at the end of the day, I think our 41st president deserves the respect. I think anybody elected to office deserves that respect. That, God, when they pass away, be respectful. I mean, that's somebody's father, somebody's grandfather, great-grandfather, somebody's brother, somebody's cousin.
Yep.
And you wouldn't want any of your family to be disrespected like that. They pass away and people are happy about it. I mean, come on.
So before I get into him a little bit, I'll go to I think it was The View with Joy Behar and
Behar, yeah.
What's he just passed away. His daughter's on the show.
McCain.
Yeah. So McCain's given like this nice little semi-eulogy for Bush, and then Joy Behar comes in, and instead of talking about Bush, she decides she's going to turn it into like a Trump bash. What the hell does Bush's death have to do with Trump? And
Absolutely
that's basically what McCain's daughter said. Was like, listen, we're not talking about Trump. We're trying to talk about Bush. And Joy goes, well, I want to talk about Trump. And McCain goes, I don't care what you want to talk about. And then Whoopi was like, we're going to commercial break.
Oh, yeah.
Why are we in this? And this is the problem that I have with the far left is they take whatever they can and then they try to twist it into something it's not.
Yeah.
If you make an argument and you have 3, 4, 10 different points on your argument, you are now confusing and not following a straight line of argument, and it's hard to understand you.
Right.
But nothing is black and white. There could be 8 arguments. And they'll take something like Bush's death and be like, yeah, but now we got to deal with this Republican president. Well, you know what? Trump isn't a Republican. He got elected under the Republican
party.
vote,
Yeah.
but he's not a Republican. I mean, he was a Democrat back in the 80s.
Yeah.
So,
well,
but why are we taking Bush and then going on? I give credit to McCain for just saying absolutely not.
And Senator McCain's daughter is 100% correct. And I'll tell you, I was watching CNN and I didn't catch who said it, but I believe it was a representative of the Bush family said that not only had they agreed to be civil with the president, because this wasn't about politics, this was about the 41st president passing away. They had also mentioned that the White House had bent over backwards to accommodate the Bush family.
Yeah.
So, I mean, listen, if the Bush family can do this, why can't Joy Behar and, anybody else who's just trying to hate on the guy, just cut the shit. This is about the 41st president. You know what? I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. But this man did some great things. Okay.
Yeah.
Was he perfect? I doubt it. There's no such thing as a perfect person. Did he make mistakes? I guarantee it.
Everybody does.
Did he try hard? You bet your ass he tried hard.
So, I was listening to his eulogy today, and it reminded me. I've read both of. Well, I think there's only 2. Both of his son's books, Decision Point and 41.
Yeah.
And if you ever want to know more about Bush Sr.,
HW, 41st president,
read 41 by his son. It's a great.
Do you know
book.
who was it? Jeb or
no? It was George.
George.
Yeah.
He's a funny guy.
Yeah, him and his ghostwriter, they do write very well. Decision Points of 41 were great reads. But in the eulogy, I forget who it was. I think it was somebody from Canada. Was like, "What were you doing when you were 20?" He was like, I was working, trying to get back into law school, blah, blah, blah. He's going on and on and on. And then he goes, at 20, George H.W. Bush was doing bomb runs in World War II.
Yeah.
To the point where he got shot down. I believe he was shot down twice, but I know he was shot down once off the coast of Japan. And he was the only one that wasn't turned into a POW. And if I remember from the book correctly, like, the Japanese are coming for him and the Americans are coming for him, and there's just and he's just sitting in the water waiting.
Yep.
So he starts out in the military fighting for you and me. We may not have been born yet,
right?
But he was still fighting for you and me. Then he spends the rest of his life going through the political process, all sorts of different things. He was head of the CIA. He did this. He did that. I believe he was overseas for a while helping out. He was not nominated, but thought about for 3 different presidents as their vice president, for Ford, Nixon, and Reagan. And then ultimately Reagan. Luckily Reagan.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
the other 2 didn't work out so well.
I mean, this man, all he's done is what he thought was best for and I get he was probably born with a silver spoon. His children definitely were. They're from that area.
Yeah.
But does that mean he doesn't care about the country?
No, this man definitely cared about his country. I'll tell you one thing he didn't care for. That was broccoli. And I think and I think later on, I think it was the Japanese prime minister that he threw up on at the dinner.
He did.
And it might have had something to do with the broccoli. I don't know. But,
he just saw it.
Yeah, little victories. But you know, listen, I don't want to say he wasn't a great man. I was very impressed by him. And like I said before, did he make mistakes? Yes. Was he perfect? No. Did I agree with every political aspect of the 41st president? No. And I didn't with the 42nd. I didn't with the 43rd. I don't with the current president. But here's the difference. I respect the office.
Yep.
Okay. First and foremost, I respect the office. And I didn't have a dog in this race. So to me, I was very indifferent if it was Bush or Clinton. Okay. But either way, I had always intended on supporting whoever was president, because that's what we're supposed to do.
You have to.
You have to.
You can disagree and support
Oh,
at
absolutely.
the same time. This thought
Absolutely.
that you can't.
Yeah.
That's
And you know
what
what?
we need to get away
That's
from.
why President Bush, 41, and Clinton could work together, because they
Absolutely.
respected each other.
Yeah.
They respected each other's views. They had a common goal, and they worked together to achieve that goal.
And that's the thing. So say you and I are like separate presidents.
Right.
There's going to be 100,000 things you and I disagree on.
Absolutely.
But there's going to be that one thing that we agree on. So why not jump and join forces on that one thing?
100%. And
that's what
listen,
they
you
did.
can disagree on something and work towards a common goal. You know, I mean, that's what this show is about. It's about, listen, you guys need to stop fighting. You know, oh, I'm on the left, screw everybody on the right. Oh, I'm on the right, everybody on the left's crazy. You're all crazy for acting like that. Get together, make some progress.
If you actually sit down, shut that fucking TV off.
Yes.
Think about it for a little while.
Yeah.
Every single one of you is a shade of purple. 'Cause
Absolutely.
There is not one policy, one piece of anything that you're all blue or all red on.
No, 100%.
And I dare
agree
you,
with
I
that.
dare you, I beg you, find me one idea, one thing that is either blue or red for you. And I guarantee I will find something that the other side
Yeah.
agrees with you or that you agree with.
Right. Absolutely.
Well, on a
Absolutely.
last note with Bush, one thing that I do admire a lot about him, and it's probably all just media infused, but him and his wife's like relationship through the years.
70 years of marriage.
Oh my Lord.
And that's amazing. That's just amazing.
That's what I'm saying. It's I hate to use the word beautiful.
Yeah, but
but
you know what? It's a
it
man
just-
who loved his wife. It's a man who not only loved his wife, he loved his children, grandchildren,
Yep.
great-grandchildren. And
But it's
guess
one of
what?
those few times, like, all right, you see Trump and Melania, you
He
never
loved-
see it in
he
their
loved
eyes.
his country,
Yeah.
you know?
But like when Bush was next to his wife, oh my God, Barbara.
Barbara, yeah.
I don't know why her name just slipped my head. Too many beers tonight.
Yes.
But you could just, I mean, there's people who are like, yeah, it's my wife. And then there's people who are like,
This is my wife.
I'm her husband.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
So
Yeah.
that's how I feel, honey.
I don't think she can hear us. Yeah, thank God.
So Rick and I talked, and we've decided that every week we're going to take a topic out of the headlines that's been blasted that we really feel is a purple politics topic. This week, CRISPR and the Chinese scientist, that's his name,
Yeah.
who did some gene editing on the twin babies is probably the topic of the week this week.
Oh, for sure.
So what he did is, and whether it's right or wrong, we'll just go into what he did, is he used CRISPR, which is the gene editing. They use a bacteria. It's too sciencey for me. I read up on it, and then I got cross-eyed, but I understand it a little bit. They found this bacteria that it goes into the genes, or the DNA. It could like cut specific genes out, and then somehow, like I said, it's too much science for me. Somehow the scientists, that little gap in the DNA, are able to fill it instead of it, because the mutations come in when it has to fill itself in.
Right.
So, but the controversy is that all the world organizations have decided that it's not kosher. It's illegal.
Well, yeah, I
almost
mean, you're
everywhere.
editing somebody's genes, you know, I mean, that's, you
Right.
know,
But I mean,
so
we
is
edit-
cloning genes, you know, it's all in the same hammock. So to
Right.
speak.
So, and there's a movie, I think it was called Gattaca or something,
Yeah.
where
it's a
they
good
show
movie.
it's all about that, but they show a scene where the parents go in there and they're like, yeah, I want a baby with blue eyes, green
There was
hair,
Gattaca.
you know?
Yeah.
So, but that's what it's coming to. Now, here's where the purple politics comes into it. So, the good and the bad of it. Now, the good. You can get rid of things like the doctor was doing was he wanted to eradicate AIDS transfer from parents to children. So he did whatever he did to eradicate it, and I guess it worked. There's more to it at the end, but that's why he did it. The downside is, and I don't know how you feel on it, is that doctors could use it to create, like, imagine if Nazis had CRISPR.
Oh, jeez.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now everybody is blonde hair, blue eyed.
Right.
You know, you've got the race. So that is the dilemma. So what do we do with it? Because why wouldn't you eradicate?
You could eradicate all kinds of
leukemia?
yeah, cancer, because everybody has a cancer gene.
Yep.
You know.
So why do we ban a technology that will let us eradicate cancer?
Because somebody will abuse it.
But somebody will abuse the gun from earlier.
Yeah. Somebody will abuse a child. It doesn't mean we get rid of children. I think it would have to be something heavily, heavily regulated.
I mean, that's the thing. And like this guy, and this
and it's
guy,
not regulated. I think in a conversation we had prior to the podcast.
But that's the problem right here. Is so it's not regulated. It's not being allowed anywhere. So this man just did it in secret. Who knows? And I think that's the big deal. Is nobody knows the consequence of what he's done.
Right.
So yeah, you've got rid of that gene, but what if that gene that made you susceptible to the transfer of AIDS from your parents also did this over here?
Yeah,
and we just didn't know it did
like
this.
a butterfly effect.
Right.
Yeah.
So now we're going to have these like sci-fi horror alien creatures.
Yeah, you don't know, you know. And you know what? This is one case that we know of.
Well, he's already said, he went before like the world board and they asked him, they go, is there any more children? And he said, there is one other, but the only reason he said about the twins is because I believe the twins were born. The other one, I think, is still in womb.
Right.
And now the twist of the story is since last week, he's gone missing.
Yeah.
So they think that the Chinese government has taken him in for questioning.
You know, they could have taken him in for a few different reasons.
Right. Well, I think the Chinese government was probably behind him at first.
Right.
But now that all the scrutiny's come over him. So, yeah, that's basically it. Is he did that. Now
he's missing.
But I still think that this does need to be something that we need to regulate and could be a positive thing.
It could definitely, listen, there's no doubt in my mind it could be used for something positive, but there's also no doubt in my mind it could be abused and used for something negative. I think if you could rid horrible diseases by using this, obviously, I am a person that has compassion. I would, I don't want to see people suffer, but I don't trust the fact that somebody won't abuse it. So I would say it has to be heavily regulated. And here's the other thing, okay? And Gattaca, if I remember right, didn't end so well. I'm trying to think of the ending.
It's been a while since I watched it. Yeah.
So, these things don't, tend to not end well, and I think you're, how moral is it?
That's the big question. And here's a moral science question, because what is moral?
Yeah, moral is public perception and standard.
Yeah, because it's different for everybody. So
Right.
letting people die that shouldn't die is immoral,
Right.
but playing God is also immoral.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And somebody might be using this to be immortal.
Yeah.
Like
me.
When you think about it.
You find that immortal gene?
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah.
I'm signing up.
And I mean, let's be honest. I don't think for 1 minute that there's only one scientist that can do this. I don't think it's only been done once or twice.
No, I mean, they do it all the time. Just
yeah,
not publicly on humans.
right.
But CRISPR's getting used. I mean, they do it to modify I believe they're using it on living things, but like plants and stuff.
I wonder, can they make pandas smarter? I mean, is it possible? Just make them a little smarter.
So to go into like the topic of health,
I like pandas, by the way. I don't want anybody to think I'm a panda hater. I mean, they're kind of cute. They're dumb, but they're cute.
Have you seen them do the somersaults on the internet?
I watched one hug a tree stump for about 15 minutes. I wasn't sure what it was going to do next, but I guess I'm the idiot for watching it for 15 minutes.
Yeah. So we just talked about what if it could eradicate cancer. Well, one of the studies says that it may actually cause cancer.
Oh, geez.
So there's all sorts of like bad things to this, but here's my, to go back, I said this will come up later.
Yeah.
So he did this to make sure that
the twins
would not get AIDS from their parents.
Right.
So I did some research, and I guess when your mom has AIDS and then she has a baby, there's this medicine that they give you within like 6 hours.
It'll eradicate.
Yeah, I forget what it was called, but the HIV medicine. It protects the babies from infection that may have been passed from mother to child during birth. And it says that fewer than 200 babies with HIV are born each year in the United States. Now, that's different than over in Africa, where Africa does have the really devastating HIV thing.
Oh, yeah.
But I know that they have this medicine over there, because the reason I looked it up was because I remembered watching a documentary about them, about the women not passing the HIV virus on to the babies. But still, 200 babies are born with HIV each year in the United States. Now, on top of, blood to child transfer, and some of this I have in there just for you, Rick, babies can get HIV. So say it isn't done in childbirth, but they can still get it from breast milk.
Right.
So they naturally feed.
It's a bodily fluid.
Now, I don't know where this is going on. All right. But if you feed your baby like a bird, it can get HIV.
Like a bird. Oh, vomit in its mouth.
Yeah. So that one's just in there. I mean, if you look at the notes, parentheses, just for Rick.
Yeah, just for Rick. Thanks, Ben. Thanks.
So to be safe, babies should not be fed pre-chewed food.
Yes.
So I guess going back to him, all right, so there still are, just in the United States, 200 babies born with HIV, probably way more in Africa because they're probably not getting the medicine, and other low-income, poor nations.
Right.
So, okay, Dr. He's still doing a good job. He's still trying to protect people. But I did some more research. Ben went down a rabbit hole today.
I guess so.
So, HIV, as far as I could tell, comes from mother to child transfer. HIV passes from the mother, or from the father to the mother to the baby. It does not go from the father's sperm into the egg, because I don't think the AIDS is actually in the sperm.
No.
I think it's just mixed in with the semen, not to get too whatever about it. But just one sperm, one little cell or whatever it is.
The fastest one.
Well, not even the fastest one. The one that makes it in. So a lot of the times the fastest one gets there and it starts pounding at that egg and then dies off, and that little one
just strolls in.
The retarded one, boop, gets in there. And so the AIDS virus, you like how I brought that one back around?
Oh, yeah, I do. I caught that.
the one with two tails.
Nobody could see me, but I was holding my breath. I almost passed out.
I almost made it until I looked over at you. I was just going to keep going with it. But the HIV doesn't spread through that. So it goes from the father to the mother to the baby. So again, you just take the medicine and you're fine. The problem is that I have with Dr. He's experiment, because if he's trying to promote the process, why not do it in like a non-questionable way?
Right.
I am a truck driver. Here's my question. So I just read it off. It transfers from the father to the mother to the baby. There are drugs to make it so the mother doesn't pass it on to the baby. Dr. He's experiment was he found families where there was just the father had AIDS.
Really?
So he took the father with AIDS, the mother without AIDS. He, what's it called?
Inseminated.
Yeah, but he didn't, like test tube it, and then put it in the mother. So he's already, wouldn't that be an AIDS-free baby?
Yeah, I mean, who signs up for this? I mean, I'm curious.
I didn't look at that. My rabbit hole didn't go down that direction.
Yeah,
but I'm assuming.
No, I agree with you. So if that's how it's passed, shouldn't the baby be AIDS-free anyways?
That's my question. But I'm assuming it's a family that was super worried. And here's the thing. So it's a husband wife. It just says that the husband had AIDS. And that's how all the articles have put it. He found the father had AIDS and he inseminated the wife, or Dr. He did in vitro fertilization. It never says anything about the woman. But on the other note, as we're dealing with China, which is a male-driven population,
right?
So everything is going to be male-heavy anyways. So I don't know if the mother didn't have AIDS, but from the 5 reports that I read,
nobody mentioned that she did.
And they went out of their way to say the father had AIDS. Right. So you'd think that it would say both parents.
Yeah. Yeah. So if the reporting's any somewhat accurate, right, the mother probably didn't have AIDS.
As far as I'm concerned, the whole thing is, so now he's risked these children's lives, and it may not have even been necessary anyways. It's not like he was trying to eradicate a virus that has no cure. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because, I mean...
Well, there's already a solution.
Yeah.
I mean, so...
200 of the children that are getting the medicine end up with AIDS. I'm assuming that is a very good ratio. Like, it didn't give me the number of people that get this medicine. Right. But AIDS is a big thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, people live forever with it now anyways, and there are medicine to make the children live, healthy lives, but...
Right. Well,
so there's flaws with his process anyways. I do love how he's missing, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Trust me, he knows where he's at, and so does somebody else. I don't think he's dead somewhere. I think he's being interrogated, and this could be the start of something bad in my mind.
So this thought just popped in my head. I honestly don't think, if I was thinking from a red brain or a blue brain, which one would be pro or con against it. This one really is a purple question. It's
a purple issue.
Because I think some Democrats would be like, yeah, and some would be like, no, and then the Republicans would be like, yeah, and then some of the other ones would have been like, no. I mean, this is a perfect one to start our red-blue topic on, because
absolutely.
There is no right or wrong. So what would you guys think is the right way to go about gene editing? Should we? Shouldn't we? Are there limitations? Let us know. Come by to purplepoliticspodcast.com. Leave us a message. You can find my email address right up in the contact section. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at Rick and Ben on Twitter. Remember to like the show wherever you find us. Leave a review, even if it's just the stars. You don't have to write a comment if you're shy. But that is the best way to promote the show. It's the best way to get more followers. The best way for you to get a community to talk to. And we'll talk to you guys next week. Send us those articles.